Good evening, everybody. The Music Fan is back, bringing smiles to the faces, knowledge to the people, and most importantly, music to the masses. And I am back with another Are You In? Now, we are almost done with 2019. I know that's crazy to think, but here we are in mid-October with only 2.5 months left to listen to some great music and find out not only who's going to be the best album of 2019, but if those albums can contend with being some of the best albums of the decade. I have a bunch of other albums that I want to review and that I'm really excited to take a look at, and I hope that you are as well. Tonight we are taking a look at the newest City and Colour album entitled A Pill for Loneliness. Dallas Michael John Albert Green is a Canadian musician and singer-songwriter from St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. His previous albums include Sometimes in 2005, Bring Me Your Love in 2008, Little Hell in 2011, The Hurry and the Harm in 2013, and If I Should Go Before You in 2015. Dallas Green has been a huge staple in the indie, folk, rock scene for a very long time now. Whether it's being one of the lead singers for Alex is on Fire, or if it's working with Pink for a little collab album called You and Me that dropped back a few years ago, or his main vehicle, which is his solo work, City and Colour, which I just found out recently that name came from his first name being a city and his second name being a color. Did not even think of that. Crazy, huh? I got into his work with a little help from one of my college a cappella friends. He had told me about how interesting his work was and how I should definitely check it out. And I was happy to do so. My first taste of his music was The Hurry and the Harm, and I just instantly fell in love with it. I enjoyed the really intricate and interesting guitar lines, working well with some beautiful vocals. Dallas Green has one of the more interesting voices in indie rock that I've heard in a very long time. It's warm, it's high, it's bubbly, it's all enveloping. It feels like it gives you a hug. It's really interesting to think of that, especially with all of his depressing lyrics, if you will. It feels like he's giving you a hug with depression. I instantly fell in love with it. Songs like California, The Lonely Life, Two Coins, Commentators, Thirst, Hurry and the Harm, Heart and the Stone, Space and Time. So many amazing songs that I still love listening to. I've covered some of them on my channel. You should definitely check them out if you haven't already. It was such an amazing album that I believe I had it in my top 10 for 2013, if not just a little bit outside it. If I Should Go Before You, I didn't get to talk about, but also really did stand out for me as one of the albums of 2015. It wasn't as strong as The Hurry and the Harm, though it does have some solid songs as well. I love Blood, Woman, Lover Come Back, and my favorite song, which is If I Should Go Before You, the title track. One of my favorite love songs in recent history. This one is so powerful, so emotional. It literally gave me a panic attack the first time I heard it. This idea of loving someone so much that if you are to die, if you were to go, that you would still be there through thick and thin, even if you weren't there physically. Absolutely gorgeous. So much great emotion. Absolutely incredible song. It's crazy to think that it's been 4 years since he's put out an album. His longest gap has been 3 years. I'm really excited to have seen another album come out of his during this decade so that I could finally talk about him in length. Though I will say the first single from this album, Strangers, I wasn't hugely excited about. It was a little bit more simplistic, a little bit more atmospheric, and the chorus itself wasn't my favorite that I've heard in a very long time from him. So I came in this album with some hesitation, but I still was excited to listen to it anyways. That first vibe that I got from Strangers is very prevalent in this new album. There's a lot less complex and intricate guitar lines. It's more atmospheric all around. You're getting a lot more space with a lot of these songs. A lot more songs that are over 4 minutes in length. There's a bunch of 7 or 6 minute songs. All of them pretty slow, very pretty atmospheric, sometimes a little bit sludgy. With this, there's some interesting songs and there's some less interesting songs, but we'll break that up right now. First off, let's talk about some of the slower, more atmospheric songs on the album. Songs like Astronaut, Mountain of Madness, Song of Unrest, The War Years, and Lay Me Down. All 5 of those songs feel slower, more simplistic drum beats, more space for Dallas Green's vocals and lyrics. When these songs are on point, you get songs like Astronaut, which feels a little bit more sludgy, a little bit more psychedelic at times. A song that has a very memorable chorus, especially on the latter half of that chorus, when you get a line like, "There's poison, there's silver, that's home." I love the playing around with the timing of the lyrics and the space that is being used for the melody. I also do enjoy just the heavier sound. It works on this song, especially on the outro when you get something that feels a little bit more in line with an Oasis ending or psychedelic Beatles ending. Another solid song is Lay Me Down, which is a piano ballad and very sparse one. There's a little bit of use of electronics. There's a little bit guitar and drums on the last chorus, but mostly it's just piano and Dallas Green. This one has one of the better arrangements, one of the better melodies, and one of the better choruses. A perfect encapsulation of what this album is. This is the last song, and it's talking about laying someone down because they've had enough of everything that's going on in the world. When we talk about the lyrics, you'll understand kind of why he got to that point. A phenomenal sparse ending, and one that is desperately needed on this album because it stands out as a song that's a little bit different from everything else. Mountains of Madness, also solid, though it does stay a little bit too long in my book because of the outro that feels like it was tacked on rather than ending a little bit more clean. Though the chorus is really solid, the drum beat, though simplistic, which is a staple of City and Color, does give you a little bit more layering. I do again enjoy that heavier vibe. Songs of Unrest and The War Years stand out in a different way because it feels a little bit more 80s and a little bit more indie pop rather than indie rock. Both of them have a little bit more use of electronics and synths, each to their own effect. Song of Unrest feels like something that Florence and the Machines could have done. It feels a little bit more poppy than everything else, especially that chorus where you get some more layered vocals and more high-pitched vocals. The War Years, on the other hand, does still feel a little bit more of what Dallas Green has done in the past, though I love the layering on the chorus. It's a very simplistic chorus, but one that is really effective. My problem with this song is that it feels a little bit too aimless at times. There's just way too much space for everything else that's going on around it, and it does stay a little bit too long because of that. Then we go with some of the more fast-paced songs. Songs like Living in Lightning, Imagination, Difficult Love, Strangers, and Young Lovers. We've already talked about Strangers, and to me it's one of the weaker songs on the album. Even though it is the fastest and most energetic song on the album, it just doesn't have a very interesting chorus, which drags it down a lot to me. Imagination, on the other hand, does have another not so interesting chorus, but what it makes up for is the vibe, the simplistic yet effective chord progression on the verse, which is just going from G to E, and the melody that surrounds it. It's one of the more interesting melodies because of how Dallas plays around with the notes on the ends of phrases. Living in Lightning and Difficult Love feel like songs that Dallas Green has done before. They're very familiar and kind of nicely needed on this album because of the different vibe that he's going with this album, but it doesn't necessarily stand out as some of the stronger songs. It just stands out as nice pillars that we can go back to. And also, both of them feel a little bit too short in my book. Young Lovers, though, the second to last song, is a phenomenal song and one that definitely does stand out because of its vibe, because of the incredible chorus and just the nice use of drums on here. This one is a little bit more active in terms of the drums. This song and Mountains of Madness has some bombastic drums as well. Song of Unrest has some more interesting drums as well. Last song that we can talk about is Me in the Moonlight. It is a little bit more atmospheric, though this one suffers because it feels a little bit too short. This one could have been an incredible song, but it just doesn't feel finished. It has an incredible vibe. It has some really interesting harmonies. One of the better melodies on the album, but it just goes away too quickly. Lyrically, we get a lot of songs that fit into two camps, whether it's about love, ending a relationship, going through a relationship that's harder but trying to fight for it, fighting in a relationship, finding yourself after a relationship or during a relationship. Songs like Living in Lightning, Astronaut, Difficult Love, Me in the Moonlight, The Warriors, all those fit the mold of songs about love. The other mold that we look at are songs that deal with what's going on in the world and in this country, and trying to bridge the gaps and differences between all of us so that we can feel more love and feel together in this world. And to add to that, songs about finding happiness in such a shitty world. Imagination, Mountains of Madness, Songs of Unrest, Strangers, and Young Lovers all fit that mold. It encapsulates the best on Lay Me Down, where this person's finally done with everything that they're dealing with in the world and just want everything to go away. There's a lot of depressing lyrics, there's a lot of nice imagery, all being very solid in general lyrically. However, my biggest problems lie with some of these arrangements. Like I've said before, when the atmosphere is solid, you don't really think about the length of the song. Astronaut does a good job on that. Lay Me Down does a good job on that, though it could have even been a little bit longer in my book. Young Lovers does a very solid job with the length and how they use the space. But there are some songs that feel a little bit too long, like Mountain of Madness, or Songs of Unrest, or The Warriors, just because of how they use the space, or it feels a little bit too short, like Living in Lightning, or Me in the Moonlight, or Difficult Love. That's a problem that arises when you have more atmospheric and slower songs. You need to find that particular balance of not being too long, but being able to fulfill your idea in the most concise way possible. And a lot of those songs kind of fall short of that. Also, it would have been nice to have a little bit more diversity on this album. There are songs that do feel a little bit different, like Lay Me Down and Songs of Unrest, and even The Warriors, but a lot of these feel a little bit too similar. And because of that, there are some really good songs, really memorable songs, but most of them fall in this solid yet not memorable category. I wouldn't put a lot of these songs on the previous two albums to add quality to them. It's solid, but it's not great. It's unfortunate because I would really want to love this album. However, in doses, all these songs are manageable, all these songs are serviceable, and there isn't a bad song on the album. There's a lot of really beautiful work on the arrangements. There's a lot of really nice atmospheres that are created. Dallas Green does a great job on a lot of these melodies, and his singing always does stand out as being phenomenal. I just wish that there was a little bit more that could have make me remember a lot of these songs. There's just not enough diversity there, and for that I can't say listen to on repeat. I really would have loved to. However, with enough very serviceable songs, it's definitely worth a full listen. This is maybe an easier album to listen to just because there isn't a lot of intricate nature on here, but also will be a little bit of a slog. I'm trying to remember each one of these arrangements. If you are someone who's new to City and Color and would like to try them out, this might be the easier one to listen to, but then after that, please check out The Hurry and the Harm. Check out If I Should Go Before You. Both of them have more interesting and diverse ideas and have more memorable songs. So check it out, but know that there is so much more in the discography that is waiting for you after this album. That is my time. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you love or hate this album and your reasons why. Let me know other albums from 2019 that you'd like me to review. Share this with your friends, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel. That way I know that you enjoy what I'm doing and want to see this channel become bigger and better for the future. I'll see you tomorrow for another Are You In? Until then, this is a Music Fan, and I'm signing off.